Yes, peeps. We are back in the building. Hope everybody's doing blessed. Guys, you already know the vibes. You can see the thumbnail already. We've spoken about Curtis Jones. We've spoken about Cody Gakpo. Now, it's time we speak about one Mohamed Salah. Guys, make sure, as always, man, you're smashing the like, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, man. So, listen, this one shouldn't be too long, but, we'll see kind of how it goes. Mohamed Salah, as we know, obviously he's into his last 2 years of his deal. Um, just finished winning the league with Liverpool. Had a really, really good season by his standards in terms of the numbers. Probably wished he could have, picked up a Champions League and stuff like that, and really had more dominant performances in Europe. Unfortunately, Liverpool getting knocked out by PSG. The eventual winners of the tournament. They were fortunately, unfortunately, the best team in Europe this season. So, there is, something to be said in regards to that in terms of, Mohamed Salah and, what his ambitions are and, how he kind of sees himself and how he wants to push himself plus the team forward to be winning the biggest honors. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, we have won the Premier League, and listen, it's in no small thanks, to Mohamed Salah, with everything that he kind of put in towards last season in terms of the goals, in terms of the assists. He had a fantastic season, 29 goals, 18 assists. Yeah, without him, I honestly, I don't know where Liverpool would even be. I'll be real with you. I really don't know. Now, looking at Mo Salah, and the reason why I say what next, as I mentioned, he's into his last 2 years. As we know, Mo Salah, he's a right winger, right? He's going to stay on that kind of side, but he is getting into, the latter parts of his career. We have just signed Florian Wirtz. We've got Frimpong, obviously, who can operate down that right-hand side, who's probably going to operate as the main right back next season, but we know he can play further forward as well. It's also an area of the pitch that we haven't looked at all this entire summer. Like, not once have I heard anything in relation to Mohamed Salah, a cover, a backup. We can see with Arsenal the way that they're moving over getting Noni Madueke, someone who might come in as a rotation option for, Bukayo Saka, but can also play on the left-hand side as well. There's a bit of versatility there, but we haven't looked at that at all. We've only been looking at the left winger market, right? And we've got two. That's the craziest thing. Imagine that. We've got two left wingers already in the team, and we're still looking for another one. We're not happy with the two left wingers that we've got. Fair enough. Obviously, not everybody can be Salah. Not everybody can perform at that elite level that Salah does. So, of course, it's going to be difficult trying to, find someone who's going to, come in to replace it. But I do think that this is an area that Liverpool definitely, obviously, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's definitely an area that I look at and I think to myself, yeah, we might be sleeping on this one. We genuinely might be sleeping. Now, obviously, you can look at it. If Diaz were to stay, he can, play in that position as well. Florian Wirtz, nah, he can't really play there. I mean, you've got Zabozalai, you've got Harvey Elliott, Frimpong, as I mentioned before. If you were to play Connor Bradley, for example, in that right back, then yeah, I mean, you've got kind of options-ish, but they're not really. I guess it would have been better if, say, you'd signed a Frimpong, but then you also signed another right back, because then you could say, oh, okay, you know what, we can push Frimpong, further forward. He can come in rotation, and then, him and Mo Salah will be battling it out on that right-hand side. But at this current moment in time, that's just not what we're seeing. We're seeing nothing on that right-hand side in terms of someone being able to come in. Now, obviously, I know it's already difficult because Mo Salah is Mo Salah. He's going to want to play every single game, regardless of whether he's even fit or not, but he keeps himself in good nick anyway. But from what I gathered last season in terms of the way that people felt that Liverpool played, and they feel that, maybe if we had a different option there potentially, for some people say obviously with Florian Wirtz coming in, yeah, it might change in terms of the way that Liverpool kind of do things. Obviously, we don't know at this current moment in time. We'd still have to wait and see. We haven't seen Florian Wirtz play. We don't know how Liverpool are going to go and play, next season. But I still look at that area of the pitch and I sit there and think to myself, boy, if you don't, get that kind of looked at, so to speak, then yeah, it might be a little bit problematic. I'll be honest with you, just moving forward in a general sense. I mean, look at it. This is last season in the Premier League, 38 games. He started every single game in the Premier League last season. 89 minutes per match, but he's playing full game. Like, this is per game. in the Premier League, 89 minutes. So he's playing full matches all the time. We can't keep relying on that, guys. As much as I mentioned before, Mo Salah is my favorite player. Everybody already knows in the team he is the guy, but we can't continuously keep relying upon him. Now, one of the big questions that some people have asked is, of course, obviously with Florian Wirtz coming in, could Mo Salah potentially, or even Liverpool and Arne Slot, could they potentially play a different way? Could we move Mo Salah potentially central? This is really based off the conversation that myself and I think Savage had a while back. Just talking about potentially Liverpool moving to three at the back, and having the wing backs in Kirkez and Frimpong, and then you can have the two attacking midfielders, Florian Wirtz, and then potentially Mo Salah with a striker, up top. They could kind of form their own three in that kind of, area. So it could be a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, however you kind of want to see it. But I definitely think that this is something that us as a fan base at this moment, we're just kind of sleeping on. Understandable to some degree, but I do look at this and big up Cal because he mentioned this on Enza stream the other day about it's like a wider question that we're not ready to ask at this current moment in time because again we're so focused on other things. And listen, the transfer window is very, very long. We've still got a while to go. The season hasn't started. Heck, the lads at the time of this video haven't even had their first preseason game. We know that they're back in training. So there's a lot of things that we still need to sort out. And with everything that's obviously been going on, in terms of the club and stuff like that. So yeah, there's still time. There's still, of course, time for us to sort this part out, but it is an area that I do look at and I think to myself, yeah, Liverpool, as much as we want to focus on that left wing area, and obviously we're going to need to because ultimately it's not the same as the right wing in terms of, I'm just talking about having a player who can play as many minutes as he does, is available as much as he actually is, and can still put in that level of output that he obviously put in last season and the previous seasons that he's been, at Liverpool. I know it's going to be difficult, but I just don't like the fact that we haven't even, it's not even like we've really looked. I know, again, we've got Ben Doak and that, and I hear all of that. I don't think he's going to be a player that, we're going to necessarily rely upon. I do think that he will probably leave this summer, and that's fine. But Liverpool do need to look at that area. Obviously, I know we missed out on Elise. Yes, I'm going to bring him up. But, there are other players out there that we could potentially be looking at to be able to get in, to be able to cover, Mo Salah, next season. But also just be, looking towards the future. We speak about Mark Gay, and we're talking about, oh, he could potentially be like a replacement, eventually for, Virgil van Dijk. How great would it be for, someone to come in and, again, another player who's always available, always fit kind of thing. So, we're calm with that, but I don't know, it don't really seem like we're that calm with trying to find someone on the right-hand side. Now, I'm not saying that nobody's thinking about it. I'm sure most of you in the comment section might say, yeah, I know, we should. I've mentioned this before, and that's cool. But I'm just saying, in terms of like a wider conversation, this is definitely an area that I look at and I say, yeah, man, Liverpool, we do need to, again, like I said, the window is only just open. So it is a little bit difficult for me to be like, oh, yeah, well, we're not doing, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. No, it's not even about we're not doing anything. I'm just trying to look at it, bigger picture more than anything else. I think that's just the way that I'm going to, kind of take everything is more, okay, the bigger picture is, we definitely need to be looking at this area of the pitch. It's definitely an area of the pitch that, we need to sort out. But if not, what does that then mean? What's next then for Salah, in these next 2 years? Is it a case of just leaving him out there, on that right wing? I do think, obviously, listen, Salah, as we know, he relies on that pace, and and the thing is, he's still got that kind of burst of speed. It's not as the same as it was before when he first joined the club, obviously, but he's still got that pace, right? And he's got that strength. So on that right-hand side, yeah, it might be fine for maybe a little while longer, but we will need to definitely start looking at that area and potentially as well looking at how we're going to play next season. Now, I might do a separate video on this, once we've had like a couple of preseason games and we've been able to kind of see, okay, this is what, Slot wants to do and stuff like that. Because right now, it just seems like it's just guesswork at this current moment in time. But I'm looking at it and I'm thinking we could move Mo Salah central potentially. I don't know if Liverpool are going to actually go out there and sign this striker. If we're not able to sign the striker that we want to sign, do we have to then potentially rethink? Is it then moving someone else into a different position? A lot of people have spoken about Liverpool potentially playing with a false number 9. I'm not saying that could be Mo Salah, but that, it could be a conversation. Florian Wirtz, obviously, we know could potentially play, in that position and off the left. So, yeah, I think when I'm looking at Salah, listen, we're talking about a guy who had such an excellent season last season that, you know, he's in conversations for the Ballon d'Or, and rightly so, in my personal opinion. He should be in those kind of conversations. If everybody else is, then, you know, why not Mohamed Salah? You know, he contributed quite a lot, you know, to Liverpool winning the Premier League last season, and his own individual performances were really, really good. But I am just thinking to myself that next season, obviously, we don't know. Obviously, we just hope that Salah, he comes back, he's going to be the same, blah, blah, blah. But what if he's not? You know, what if he does need a few more games? Now, as I mentioned, he doesn't like being subbed. He doesn't like, you know, having to come off and things like that. But we are going to have to start thinking about that. It can't always be, yeah, let's just rely on Salah and then go from there. Because then when it comes time to, you know, Salah's not performing, you know, as well, when he goes to AFCON and things like that, who comes into then, you know, playing that position, and potentially someone who could take his position at some point in time. You know, is that going to be a conversation? Are we going to wait until he's in his last year and then we're going to be like, okay, I mean, if we can go out and sign like the best right winger out there, you know, maybe a Bukayo Saka or something like that. Obviously, I know Lamine Yamal would be unavailable, but if we were able to go and do something like that, then yeah, I wouldn't necessarily mind. But I don't think we're going to be able to take a Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. So if that's the case, then what do you kind of do? So yeah, I think, like I said, for me, I'm good with Salah at this current moment in time. I understand as to why he's always playing and why he's the main guy and, you know, the Don Dada in the team. But I do want there to be some kind of succession plan with a player like Salah, you know, whether it's someone in the academy that they think can play right wing, whether it's going out there to go and sign a player, I don't really care. You know, at this stage, I'm more just concerned with, can we just go out there and potentially try and find that player who is going to take over Mo Salah once he then decides to leave the club. And at this moment in time, that will be in 2 years. 2 years is not a long time, people. It's really not. In 1 year, 1 year will go just like that. And once it goes, then we're all going to be sitting there thinking, oh, crap, we need to pattern this side of the pitch. Now, like I said, it's a lot of work that the club have to do anyway in other areas of the pitch that might be a little bit more pressing. And again, like I said, I totally understand that. But I want to know from you guys in the comment section, what do you think is next for Mohamed Salah? Should he play in a different position next season? Are you comfortable with him staying up there on the right-hand side? Should Liverpool, you know, change tact and maybe do a different formation, which can potentially get the better of both Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz, and hopefully a new striker, you know, to be able to, you know, come into the squad? Who is that player? Who is that right winger that you guys feel, you know what, this guy could really come in, do his thing, and then we can kind of, you know, go from there? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, people, and I'll catch you guys soon.